Yar! Welcome to the crow's nest. I be the captain, Mike the mailman. That be my first mate, Jimmy the Jedi. And we be here to review the Skeleton Crew.
How many hours have you spent practicing?
Zero.
Zero.
I just
Sound
got
like
it.
a professional pirate to me, sir.
Yep. Mhm.
Very
I spent
nice.
many a day on the ship.
That's true.
hmm
You run into any pirates while you're out there?
Not that I can recall.
That you can recall. Bummer, dude. Well, first off, I'd like to be, Happy New Year's Eve.
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year's, people. I know Jack's already celebrated. He called me earlier.
Yeah.
He's at 6:00. They're celebrating, so that's awesome. Just want to wish everybody. I hope everyone's 2024 is great. I hope everyone's 2025 is even better.
Here's to it.
This is just cherry Coke, I promise. So
This is just an old fashioned, I promise.
That's what we almost went with tonight too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, like Mike said, it's the Crow's Nest, episode 6, Zero Friends Again, directed by Bryce Dallas Howard and written by Myung Joan Wesner, who wrote the last episode. And here's Tahu. Yeah, Tahu.
Buddy.
It's already New Year's. It's already 2025 for him.
It is. Talking
Happy
to
New
us from
Year.
the future.
Yes, he is talking to us from the future. Very nice. So, well, we kind of knew this is Bryce Dallas Howard's episode, right? We had to get that written down. So I when we didn't get the big crab last week, I just want to jump ahead. I knew it was coming because she's like the monster girl lady.
Yeah.
All of her experience on the dinosaur movies,
Mm-hmm.
and then even on her Mando series, she's always has creatures, and she had the big ATST dinosaur-esque, scenes on, I think it was at Mando season 1, I believe. So anyways, how are we feeling about episode 6, Mike?
Another great episode. I think I say it every week. They're doing just an amazing job with this. The kids are phenomenal. This is another episode that was mostly driven by the kids. You had your bit with Jude Law on the pirate ship once they got aboard the pirate ship. But yeah, mostly a kid-driven episode once again. And these kids just never fail to amaze me how well they act this thing.
Yeah, it was impressive. And we thought we were getting this. We thought, once they hit that thing and they shot out on their own, that it was going to be kind of a kid-friendly, kid-driven episode, because they were going to be on their own. What are they going to do? Are they going to be able to work together? And I think this kind of answered all that. Some awesome surprises we're going to get to. I just wrote down some funny lines. Claims he's on the new ship. I don't want to give too much away if you're watching this, so hopefully you've already seen it. Tahu says first live stream for 20. Well, not for us. It's
not for us.
2024. Mike will have about an hour when we're done, and I'll have 2. So if I don't make it, I'll celebrate East Coast time and be asleep by 11. But so I got to tell everybody first, right? So the wife and I, we decided we were going to stay in tonight. And had a nice dinner. We got dressed up nice, or I guess this is what I was wearing, so I don't say real nice, but I wasn't in my sweats. And
the shirt buttons up.
Yeah. So, and we're building Legos. She's building the hallway scene from on the Tantive 4, and I'm building the Droideka. And we're like, let's find a movie. So we're flipping through HBO or whatever, Max, I guess is what they call it now, and we see the Goonies, and she goes, that'll be fun because the show is like the Goonies.
Yeah.
I kid you not. We didn't have the full 2 hours to watch the movie. We cut it off right as the kids came out of the tubes. So they all went down the slides and they shot out into the water. And then we turned it off and got ready for this show. We had 5 minutes before it went on, and bam.
It's almost like you synced it up.
It was crazy. And I was like, I didn't expect that. And I will say that this show actually makes more sense than the Goonies did, because at least they shot through different tubes at certain points of the fall, whereas the Goonies, they never showed them kind of sliding off into different ones, yet they all came out different places. So well done. Well done to Watson Ford or actually for Bryson
Nice.
Myung. I hope I'm
Yeah.
saying her name right. For for fixing that egregious error of the Goonies.
Yes.
But as soon as this is over, we're going to go back up and watch the last 20 minutes of Goonies.
Awesome.
But yeah, and we also I feel like we did a pretty good job because we said, if you recall, we said going to be a kid-driven episode because they're on
Mhm.
their own, and we're going to get something about KB, right?
Yeah.
Because
And we
she's
got a
been
lot
doing all
about
these
her.
hero things, and um, yeah. So how do we feel about the opening scene? The kids are flying down the thing, boom, they're out, and KB's having some trouble. At first, I didn't know what Augs meant. And then I realized
Yeah.
augments. She's kind of a
Augmentations.
cyborg
Mhm.
esque droid, more like Lobot than we thought. I think.
Yep.
Um, and then we next thing we get is then that happens, and then we get Jod pops out of that hole. All kinds of awesome aliens sitting there waiting like mad,
Mhm.
and of course pirates and X-wings. We'll get into that. We start getting our groups, right? Because I got them split into their two groups. We'll talk about that. But how did you feel about the opening, Mike? We got the Goonies slide scene. We've got them coming out, getting some new stuff on KB. Finally, it only took 6 episodes to find out what was going on with her after her accident. She said, "I love
Yeah.
how they're just kind of casually talking to us and feeding us this stuff. It wasn't like
Right.
smacking us over the head. It was like, oh,
Mhm.
after my accident, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and just
It's so well planned out. It's so well written. There's no big exposition dumps. It's built into the story. It seems natural when all this stuff comes out. It's perfectly done. But yeah, I mean, sliding down those slides, like how much fun would that be? You know what I mean? Like we go to water parks and stuff like that to enjoy that sort of thing, and these kids get to do it just on a whim. But yeah, so down through the slides, popping out of there, the little spat between the kids, and they break off into their groups, and we get to see some real emotion by the kids. This sort of thing that when we were young, those sort of fights come up all the time, right? You know, you're I'm not listening to you anymore. I'm going to go play with him and this and that. So just once again, just hitting those notes of harkening back to our childhoods and whatnot. And then, like you said, we got Jod popping up out of the hole, just be decked in all the freaking jewels and gold that he can carry, barely pulling himself up out of that hole. It was funny.
yeah, I like that scene. That was pretty good. Um, yeah, I mean, we had that opening scene, and of course, the pirates and X-wings are getting ready to go. I think we've seen almost everything from the trailers now. I
Yeah.
haven't. I'm not. I don't have them memorized, but I feel like we've seen most of the stuff from the trailers now in the episodes. But yeah, I put girl fight. And
Mhm.
this, and again, I don't want to just bring up Goonies, but the fun thing about this show is when they told us exactly what it was, and it is
Mhm.
that because as we were watching Goonies, I'm like, man, they've just nailed being a young kid, a young boy, like, ooh, gross, they're kissing, or one of them's like all into it, face is all into it, and then just the girls, the way they were behaving. I thought, man, they really capitalized, really hit what it's like to be a kid. And I
Mhm.
feel like they did a really good job having these kids, like you said, like kind of going in these spots, just like you said, like just kind of our childhood. Like you and I would get mad at each other. I'd take Scott and go somewhere, and you would go
Mhm.
somewhere, with Justin, or whatever. Like it's just how
Yep.
kids are.
Mhm.
So I thought that was really great how they did that. I looked up the writer because after seeing her name a second time, she only has 3 credited uh shows to her name, and they're all in 2024. So I feel like
Wow.
we need to keep an eye out on her because she's doing great things. The
Yeah.
last 2 episodes, episodes 5 and 6 for sure, and she may have written other ones. I'm not sure, but then we're interrupted by these little trash. Well, they call them trash crabs. I put little Met
Mm.
crabs, and then I saw, and then I always watch it with captions on because 1, I'm
Captions. Yeah.
old, and then 2, I'm old, so I always watch it with captions. But then it'll tell you a little bit. But the trash crabs are pretty cool. Then we get our split. KB goes with Wim. Fern and Neil take off. And I put here, kind of reminded me of C-3PO and R2 at the beginning of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm going this way, you're going that way. Um, And yeah, I thought that was a pretty good opening scene. Like the kids did a good job, like you said. I will tell you that to this point, I was like, okay, like we're gonna get this, and they're gonna have their little adventure. This is gonna be like my low scored episode. But man, the ending kind of pulls it all together for me. So
Oh yeah.
we'll wait to get there. Did you like the fact that they all split up and they took different people? Like, these matchings, these pair ups of kids, KB and
Mm.
Wim, and then Neil and Fern. How did you feel about those groups? I mean, it's the only logical ones they really could have done.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, really. But it's kind of like a tropey sort of thing, in storytelling. But you know, they pull it off. That's the thing. Like it doesn't feel like, oh yeah, here we go again. Like it just they stick with a formula that works and execute it to a high degree. You know what I mean? Like it could certainly be like you said, they told us everything that this show was gonna be. And we're not left wanting for anything. We're not bored with it. We're not like, oh, here we go again. They told us what it was gonna do, what it was gonna be. And they're executing at a high level, so it's extremely enjoyable. But
Yeah, I really liked it. I feel like, they talked about, we want the kids to feel like they're in danger. This was the first episode where I really felt like they were I mean, we knew nothing was going to happen to them,
right.
but the adventures that they're going on
Mm,
was the first time I felt worried that one of them would get hurt. And then, they did that stuff with KB, which was pretty good. We'll get
yeah.
to it. Um, so they split up, they go their separate ways. Fern wants to climb the mountainside or whatever, and then those guys are going to go the other way. But then it flashes to Brutus, Captain Brutus. I just put mean AF on my notes. He's a big grumpy butt. And then I put equal time, kind of reminded me of Pirates of the Caribbean's parlay and the
hmm
pirate code. Like again, I don't know. I mean, I hope it's not like all nostalgia for all these things like Goonies, and like if it is, it's working for us. I mean, I don't,
Yeah.
they're oh, it's all just blah 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 blah, but it's working for me. And I know it's working for you. Given every episode of 10 so far, I know you're enjoying it, but I just loved. They're not shying away from what this show is, right? I
Right.
keep saying that, but man, I love how they went for it. They're in it. They're not
hmm
making no apologies. This is a fun pirate kid adventure set in Star Wars, and I love it. And then of course, Jod. The reason they brought Jude Law in, I feel like, is this scene, right? He
Yeah.
gets to kind of just pop off and show his acting chops. Um, his hungry speech, as I'll call it, crumbs. I kind of figured that's where he was going with it. And
Yeah.
then I just put, this is the reason he was brought in. What'd you think of his scene? Um, just with all the aliens there, everything he's doing, his convincing, his the dialogue is really done well too. I thought again,
Yeah.
really good writing.
hmm Yeah. Really good writing and really good execution, like you said, by Jude. Um, just it starts out, it seems like he's just resigned. Okay, just airlock me already. But then the speech just builds. I think you said the hunger thing. I'm hungry. I've been hungry my whole life. Aren't you guys hungry? And just builds like the perfect halftime speech from a coach. Like
Yeah,
you getting these boys ready to go back out there and whoop some butt, and gets the Pirates on his side. It seems like he's really got him, and then at the end they grab him and they're taking him back to his cell or whatever.
yeah, that
They
was,
put him up against the airlock, and you get one more chance, buddy.
yeah. I thought for sure there was gonna be like a mutiny right there,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah.
mean, I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna mutiny. And then he runs
Mhm.
out of time, equal time. He runs out of that. I liked how in that speech too, like you said, it builds. Just like a coach would do, kind of pull them in, hitting on everyone's. He knows what they're all going through because he's a pirate himself.
Mhm.
And then uh, just how he like he talks to a couple of them individually. I mean, this guy's a
Yeah.
politician, right? Like
Yep.
he's politicking to get himself out of trouble. You can tell he's done it
Mhm.
before. He's a smooth talker. I loved it. You got that little jingle at the end about Tack Raynard. I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty fun, and just uh, great scene. And then we didn't get a lot of the pirates this episode, but what we got I thought was fantastic.
Yep.
Uh, we got another scene with Vane in it, so we got that connection
Mhm.
between Mando
Mando.
Mando and this show, so it kind of tells people if they're paying attention, like, hey, this is happening
This
at the
is
same
connected.
exact time as right
Yep.
after, right after or before, Mando season that 3, yeah, season 3. Um, but yeah, I just felt like that whole scene was why they went out and they
Yeah.
got someone of his character because like we
Mhm.
talked about before, like, and he still wasn't in this much,
No.
25 minutes, 24 minutes of actual episode because it was shorter.
Mhm.
Um, but I thought he was pretty impactful the time that he got. They didn't waste it, right? It was
Right.
pretty.
It was a lot like last week with the it opened up with the parents. The parents had their 2 minutes or whatever to, show that the parents are still concerned, they're still working on things. And then in this, it's almost like the same thing. It didn't start that way, but the adults got about 2 minutes to, set the tone, set the tempo,
Yeah,
and go from there and then back to the kids, back to the main storyline.
yeah, I really enjoyed that. Um, because now we got our kids split up, and I thought that the KB and Wim both stories were really really good. All the kids kind
Yeah.
of learning something, and I know maybe a little bit cheesy, right? I mean, it is for kids, but I was thinking like whenever KB is saying, I can't do things everyone else does. There are kids out there that do have disabilities that can't do things. Like
Mhm.
this show is doing a good job. Of course, she doesn't look, I don't want to say handicapped or anything like that, but she does have the disability where she can't do things. She talks about not having maintenance after being, the steam and all these different things. And I just thought it was cool where um Wim's like, well, just tell her, like, you, and then
Yeah.
she's like, you can be our friend, you know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
just kind of just kids being kids, just being
Yeah.
good. Um,
And those little comments just jumped out at me. That's the way kids handle things. Like there's no baggage involved. It's like there's a simple solution here. Just tell her. Just talk to her. Just go about that. And once again, just how well they're acting it. Like KB, this switch that she made, the switch that character made, like from the time they came out of those tubes, and she was a different character. And
yeah,
like
oh, yeah.
showing that sort of nuance as a child actor is just phenomenal. Like child actors usually can't pull that sort of thing off, and all these kids are. Like there's so much nuance to all their performance, and they're just doing such a great job.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, this is the only time, you know, I was a little bit like, oh, okay, here we go with the kid actors. But I really felt like they did a pretty good job, and you consider and compare it to some other things that we've seen. I think they're doing a better job than some people. Um, then you had Fern and Neil too.
Hmm.
Fern's the go-getter, kind of the tomboy of the group or whatever. And then Neil's like, hey, I can't do everything you do. And it's just, I don't know, what did he say? Like, I don't have your spider legs or something
Yeah,
like that. And then she figures out, tie the rope around them and carry them up.
yeah,
And um, I just put all the kids are growing up, the
yeah.
circumstances. And, and again, they said that these kids are going to go through some stuff. They're going to learn a little bit about themselves. They're all going to like overcome things. And um,
Yeah, you really see a lot of growth with Fern. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
from was it last episode where she had her breakdown and she was crying, and then to this episode where they have a little, the little spat that ends up separating them, and it doesn't take her long to realize I dealt with that a little bit wrong. And then, of course, as they're climbing up with Neil, Neil challenges her. And instead of shooting back at him, she finds a solution and she makes it okay. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
you see so much growth in that character just in these past two episodes.
Yeah, I agree completely. I thought that was great. I love it. I love how they're doing it. And then you go back to Wim and Fern, and I'm sorry, Wim and KB, and she's teaching him how to make the things, and she's so like the writing for KB is really well done because like they just have her at another level than these
Yeah.
other kids. Um, he pours that stuff, he fixes her up, and then she's like, "Thanks, Jedi." I don't know if you
Hmm.
caught that or not.
Yes, I
I was
did.
like,
Yep.
"Oh, like that was a great line!" Like just
And
giving,
then the smile that puts on his face after she walks
yeah,
away.
he is
It's
stoked after she calls him
uh-huh.
Jedi. Big old smile, and then of course, um, you know, the big crab. How did you feel? We'll just talk about that first. We'll talk about their adventure first. The big crab.
Yeah.
We knew it was coming. I thought it was coming last week. We didn't make it there, and then I realized this is Bryce Dallas Howard's episode, like I said, and I'm like, oh, if there's a big giant monster, it's going to be in her episode.
Yeah.
That was supposedly was stop motion, just like our AT-ATs back on Planet Hoth, and
Yeah.
they brought out some of the big guns from Lucasfilm, or not Lucasfilm, but Industrial Light and Magic to come out
Yeah.
and work on that. How did you feel about the little trash crabs and her mommy? I thought maybe this was going to be another Chthallop thing where it was real scary, but it was going to be nice.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
glad they didn't go that route because that'd have been
Yep.
big scary monsters that are too
Yeah.
sweet. How did you feel about that? Their
Yeah.
scene. Their
Yeah,
adorable.
I was waiting for that turn as well, because you got these two kids with this giant crab that could easily just smash them. And I thought, well, here it's going to be just like Cthulhu. It's going to be different than what we see, but no, it's trying to kill them. And I just thought it was neat too, like all the little trash crabs. Earlier, you really thought that they were droids, like cast off droids or whatever. You didn't really notice the crab thing until the big crab comes out, and then you
Yeah.
realize all those, they are trash crabs, and they are just leading them to dinner.
For sure. Oh yeah, I thought it was funny too. They just repeat the word "home," "home." Reminded me of
Yeah.
the seagulls from
Follow, and then home.
yeah. Reminded me of the seagulls from what is it, Finding
Oh
Nemo?
yeah.
Mine. So I thought that was fun. Cool little adventure. They're running away, trying to get away from the crabs. I thought the crab was awesome. I can't wait to watch it again. Again, I miss things the first time through when we're because I'm always like I'm taking notes and things like that and trying to
Yeah.
get set. Hey,
Plus you're
Imperial's
reading the
here.
closed captioning.
Yeah. Heyo, Imperial activity. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, and then of course we get to Fern and Neil. They're climbing up there. They see the Onyx Cinder getting hauled off by the Junkers, and I think too. Like I guess before we get to that too, was it before this that they see the X-wings chasing off the pirates and they realize that Jod has been lying to them?
Yeah, because it was
Somewhere in there.
before. Yeah, it was before they split up because they were all still together, and they were hoping that the X-wings would notice them and save them. And then
Okay,
that didn't happen. But yeah,
all right. Yeah. I couldn't remember exactly. Oh yeah, I put pirates and X-wings here. Okay. So they get there. The ship comes down. They just go for it. They just go crazy. They go out there and then jump on top of the ship. That's terrifying. And somehow they get onto one of the trash haulers.
yeah,
They bring it
yeah.
down.
I was a little confused there for a minute because the first shot they show after they're on top is Fern with the joystick controlling. I'm like, why does the spaceship have a joystick
Yeah.
on top of it? Then I realized they're on one of the trash haulers because it seemed like they jumped onto the Onyx Cinder, but nope, they're on one of the trash haulers.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not the only one who thought that. At first, I was
Yeah.
like, why is there like a joystick at the top of the Onyx
Uh-huh.
Cinder? And so I was like, okay, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But then
Yeah.
it worked itself out. I
Yep,
will go
yep.
back and watch it again probably tomorrow sometime and just double check. But yeah, I thought it was fine. Good adventure. I
Mhm.
mean, I would have thrown up for sure. They come in somehow. They bring it down. They rescue KB. Excuse me, KB and Wim. They're all on there spinning around. Everything's going crazy. All hell's breaking loose. And then we get that big inferno trash monster,
Mhm.
trash eating. I don't even know what the heck that thing. It's just something terrifying. It's like, was it the little toaster, the brave little toaster? Is that or the end of one of the Toy Story movies? It's the
Yeah.
one where they almost get incinerated
They're
or
all heading to
whatever.
the
So,
yep, yeah.
yeah, so I was kind of having flashbacks of those, and
Mhm.
then well, before we get to that though, they gave Neil another great line. They all come together. They're all like, "Oh, we're sorry." They have their reconnecting moment, which I thought
Yep.
was great. And then they're all good friends again and best friends, and that's the way it should be with a kid show. And then Neil's like, "Yeah, we're getting really good at falling," so I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I mean, they survive an air disaster where like that the thing they're on goes belly up and smashes into the ground and all the kids walk away.
Yeah,
They are getting very good at falling.
they are getting very good at falling. I just thought, man, another great line by Neil. And then we have their hero moment, right? They see the ship.
Yep.
What are they going to do? And they just go for it.
Yep.
And I thought that was awesome. They are in there, and we kind of talked about this last week about, are these kids going to work together? Are they going to split up? And we got a little bit of everything in this one. Where they go in there, they're in the ship, they're in the Onyx Cinder, and all HE double hockey sticks is breaking loose. And instead of crumbling, I love it. KB's like, I think I've seen him do this before. And she just gets up and hitting all the buttons and switches.
Yeah.
She looks like Han Solo or Rey,
Mhm.
just knowing how to do it.
Yep.
And then, of course, they all just kind of, she's going to go jumpstart the engines. Fern and Neil are going to hit the throttle and pull, and then Wim runs and goes to get to the gets to the turret. I just thought it was pretty awesome that they all work together. How'd you feel about that? Like their hero moments and how they rescued, and then we'll talk about the big surprise at the end.
Yeah, it all harkened right back to episode 2, wasn't it? Where they all, at the end of episode 2, they all got, or was it 2 or 3? I can't remember now. I guess it was 3, episode 3, where Jod's putting them, puts
Oh yeah, those
put them
three.
in put them all in their places, and they all remembered and all went back to, I can work the turret, I can fly the ship, I can do this and I can do that, and all got right back to it. Like you said, the teamwork, the kids coming together and solving the problem, becoming that team, becoming the crew again.
Yeah, I loved it. And then they didn't have 33. They don't have Jod. They're kind of doing it on
Nope,
their own.
all on their own.
And then, of course, I don't know. Do you watch the recap before you or do you hit skip recap?
I watched a couple seconds of it and then I hit skip because
All right, because they brought up the button. Never touched that
yeah,
button.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Not what I expected to have happen.
No.
I didn't know what I thought was going to happen. It wasn't that, but that was awesome.
Yes, yeah.
Right? They hit the hall, was the hall destruction button or whatever. I can't remember
Mhm.
exactly the term for it right off the top of my head, but they hit that button. It blows up basically the outer core
Yeah.
of the Onyx Cinder, and it's like this slick looking, almost looks like the ship from Phantom Menace, right?
Yeah.
Um,
It almost looked like a Gauntlet starfighter, sort of, you know. But yeah, all those explosions are working their way back to ship, and of course it's a kids show, so that they're not all going to blow up. But it had that look. It had that look that the whole ship is starting at the back, just boom, 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 boom. It's going to self destruct. But yeah, they pull it out, and man, a sleek looking ship.
I hope my Lego can do that. I haven't built it yet, so we'll see.
That would
Yeah,
be something, wouldn't it?
I was impressed. Not where I thought it was going. I thought it was going to be
No.
like USS Enterprise, kind of like detaches,
Yeah,
gets
the
away
saucer section
when
comes
it
off.
starts
Mhm.
backing out. I was like, okay, we're gonna get a little Star Trek in here, and
Yeah, just an
this is
outer
my
skin.
estimation is how Star Wars story. Yeah, I would agree with you,
Yeah.
Imperial. I feel like you're loving it as much as we are. They're just telling great stories. They're just doing these little things, and I mean, I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I knew they're going to hit the button. I didn't know what was going to happen. I'm excited to look for that, see that ship, and then of course they turn and they take off, and Wim yells, claims he's on the new ship. I love that. They don't
Oh, I
get
didn't
away
catch
from
that.
the fact that they're still kids. Yeah, he yells when he's up in the turret when they're taking off. He yells, claims he's on the new ship, and so that was pretty hilarious. They're grown up, but they're still kids. I loved it. Um,
I wonder if they're gonna rename it now.
Yeah, that's what I want to kind of talk about. Where do we go from here? Because we've heard rumors that um, next episode is going to be Jod's background. Like we're going to
Mhm.
find out about him a little bit more. But we have two groups of people all headed for the same planet because KB does
Yeah,
mention early in the episode,
it's in
I
their
have
brain.
the coordinates for Ad
Mhm.
Aten, so they can get there. The pirates are heading there. Does this all happen? I mean, because we still have 2 episodes left. I can't remember who's directing episode 7. I do know that Watson Ford, the 2 creators, and Watson he'll be directing the fight because he's his first and last episode.
Yeah.
What do we think? Where are we going? Is this all backstory? Because I don't feel like that fits the the way it's been going. But what are your thoughts as far as moving forward? How's the next two episodes kind of unfold? What do you think's going to happen? Because I'm kind of curious.
I would almost expect that it's going to be quite a departure from what we've seen. You know, like you said, there's been all the hints that episode 7 is going to be John's backstory. And like we talked about before, really the only way to do that is through maybe a flashback or maybe reminiscent with the rest of the pirate crew there now that he's, on board with the other pirates. But yeah, I think maybe this is the episode where the kids sort of take a back seat and we don't have a whole lot because I can't see them doing anything else other than putting those coordinates are and going back to Ad-Atten, you know?
Yeah,
And I would imagine in episode 8, that's where you're going to have the kids have made it back and the pirates are, coming to Ad-Atten and got to set up for some sort of whatever's going to happen. We got to figure out who King No Head is. And if it was, if it was, the pirate captain, and is the pirate captain the supervisor? Is he in control on Ad-Atten, or what happened to him? So there's a lot of things yet to come. But I really think, in my estimation, the only way I can see it happen is a departure from what we've seen so far.
yeah,
It can't. I mean, I can't see, and they could surprise us because they've surprised us plenty of times already.
yeah. They really
But
have.
episode 7's got to be less kid driven than what we've seen so far.
I would think so. I just as we're sitting here talking, and the wheels spinning in my head, and not that I'm as nearly, I mean, again, all this stuff. Some of this stuff is classic storytelling, and sometimes they are surprising us, which is great. I mean, I never thought about pulling that brand new slick ship out of the
Yeah,
Onyx Center like that. Just
never
blew
seen
me
anything
away.
like that.
I was like, holy crap. I think the kids try to get to Ad-Atten, and those little sensors that make the sky red and everything. I
Mhm.
feel like those are going to redirect them. They're going to go back to Kim, right? Because
Uh-huh.
she says like, "Hey, like, come find me if you need any help." So those
Yeah,
kids are going to go off, go to Kim, maybe
yeah.
get some help, maybe get some.
It'd be a real loss if we never saw Tim again. So
Oh, that
that
would
would,
be a bummer. Lee Isaac Chung is the director of episode 5. He is the guy who did Twisters most recently. So he's a good action director. I have not seen that movie.
nor
Um,
I.
I know they picked him before he even did Twisters because of a movie, and I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. I'm forgetting it. But Imperial, thanks for that information. But the movie he did that Watson Ford went after him for it was about kids. Like he's really
Yeah,
good with kids. So with that information, yeah, who knows what's going to happen? I think you're right, though. I think some backstory. I don't think they'll ever tell us what Jod really is. I think that's more fun.
yeah,
Um, but because you guys got everyone headed to that, we haven't seen because we do know that the parents send that message, that hologram of Fern's mom. Was it Farah? Um, saying like, we've only seen part of it, so we have that still to come. But there'll got to be some kind of adventure, and the kids are going to have to again, unless there's another big surprise where like that planet is made to defend itself,
yeah,
kind of. Because I mean, if those pirates are all coming in to take over, it could be a pretty big, maybe. Because I mean, they did the first episode, and that was like 45 minutes or something like that.
yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head how long the first episode
Something
was.
like that. Yeah,
No, it was longer. Um, So maybe we get a big, pretty long adventure at the end. I don't know. I'm
yeah,
excited for it. I really, 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 really looking forward to hopefully getting some more stuff from Jod. I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, I've heard lots of rumors about a 17-minute episode, and I'm hoping that those rumors are unfounded. It's just some weird thing that's out there in the ether because there's 2 episodes left, and I'd rather see them both be in the 45-minute range than 17-minute episode and a 45-minute episode to finish it off.
17 minutes. That would
Yeah,
be awful.
yeah, I know.
There's
But
no
I've
way.
been hearing about. I know. I've been hearing about it for weeks, and I don't know that it's from any credible source or whatever, but it's out there in the ether.
Hmm.
But
I had not seen that, but that makes me sad if any
yeah,
possibility. This is the shortest episode. It's got to be close. 34 minutes. guess I could just bring it up. See if
Episode 2 wasn't very long either.
no, it was like it was short. I don't know how you tell the story you need to tell because you got to set the ending up
Mhm.
with episode 7, and then you got to play it all out. And there's going to
Yeah.
be, I mean, the things that we got left, we got to find out Jod, the pirates.
Mhm.
Does Jod have a redemption arc coming, or is he just going to be a pirate and that's that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I would be
yeah,
shocked if that were the case, to be honest. But it'd be good storytelling if he's a pirate.
yeah.
That's what he is. Like, I
Mhm.
would be totally fine with that.
Yeah,
Uh,
because we're all expecting a redemption arc, and if
yeah,
they completely pull off a great ending without that redemption arc, boom, another masterful storytelling.
absolutely. Supervisor, who,
Mhm.
what, where,
Yep.
what is it? Is it some connection to the pirates? Is it a droid or AI? Like, I had been thinking all the way up until last episode. Um, we got so much that we have to hash out. I can't imagine them not,
Yeah.
and the way that's been going so far, I just don't see them doing it.
Yeah. Nor
But,
I.
but I don't know. Um, yeah, I mean, kind of a short episode. Lots
Mhm.
happening. Lots of growth by the kids.
Mhm.
Um, I loved it. Let me see here. And then it was episode 6. So, Mike, are you going to surprise me with a score?
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be a surprise at all. We're going to stick with 10.
Yeah, Mike gives it the Big
I mean,
10. Yeah, I'm going to go 9.5 again. Not perfect. There was a little bit of moments where I thought, like at the beginning, I thought, oh, here comes this episode that I don't want to use the F word, but filler.
yeah.
But it wasn't at
Nope.
all.
Nope.
And that's because I was like, oh man, this is going to be a low score. What's Imperial say here? Do not trouble yourself over run times go. Yeah, I'm just hoping that the story. I can't imagine that the way they're telling these stories that a 17-minute episode's even possible. I guess
Yeah.
unless it's just gonna be like bam, 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 like the whole time, like just nonstop crazy town. Um,
Yeah.
but
Whatever it is, I expect it to be good.
yeah,
But yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, I think my 10 in this one is I'm my biggest takeaway from this is just KB, like the way how well that young actress did with that role, like playing a handicapped individual, I guess was is how you'd put it, playing that and to that degree, to that the shift in her character, just the way that her character developed and changed through the episode. And I mean, I can't say enough about these kids and just the job that she did. I mean, that's what did it for me in this episode.
yeah, I
She's
thought,
just masterful.
yeah, that's kind of, I'm a sucker for the big ending where they like that they did with the new Onyx Cinder. I hope you're
Mhm.
right. I hope they do change the name, but it'll look cool if it's still the Onyx Cinder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
A cool name. Um, the growth of these kids, after this episode, they're all going to be pretty tight now, right? Because Fern and I mean, we still have. I mean, Wim seems to just worship the ground that Fern walks on for some reason.
yeah,
Um, so I feel like that's already there. He believes in her. He's always really positive, and I love that. Like his character, just he's always seeing the bright. We'll get through this. We'll do this. We'll do this. I love that for him. And then of course, we've got that connection with KB and Wim now, so they're going to be quicker to maybe work together like they did on the ship. So I'm excited for
yeah,
that. I'm excited to see where this goes. I don't know. I just, yeah, I another great episode.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy to me how good the show is so far. When I say so
yeah.
far, I mean we're 6 out of 8 episodes in. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised at this point. You just kind of, I don't know about you. I'm a little cynical. I keep waiting for a dud. But there isn't one. I mean, so
No,
far, I mean, unless 7 just drops the ball, which I'm, I find it hard to believe with the way they're doing things. for
Yeah.
any of these
You know,
episodes.
there has not been an ebb and flow with these. You know what I mean? Even like if you look back at a lot of the other Star Wars series, you can definitely say, yeah, that one was pretty good. That was a little bit like there's definitely a different level to to the story, to the episodes. They're not all even across the board. Whereas this one, and just I'm a little biased giving it a 10 every time, but I think you've given it a 9, 9.5. Nine's the lowest anybody has given it. All of our guests and whatnot that we've had on, uh, nobody's rated it below a 9, and that's almost a straight line. So it just goes to show you, like, it's great
Yeah.
storytelling front to back, and it's hard to imagine that you're going to have any kind of a big drop off or any kind of a change from that pattern. 6 episodes, pretty even. I don't think we're going to have any drop off.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I mean, the worst part about the show is when it ends every time. It wasn't like I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, let's get this over with. I mean, I like the Acolyte, but there are episodes I'll just skip when I rewatch it, or I go
yeah,
and I watch scenes. You know what I mean? This,
yep.
like, you put this on and you just watch it from start to finish. And so,
No low points.
yeah, I feel like this is super rewatchable so far. Super fun. I've watched every episode except for tonight's at least twice. Some of them I've seen 3, just put them on in the background or whatever while I'm doing work.
Yeah.
Um, and just, I've probably watched these more than I've watched Mando or Ahsoka or any of them, really. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to say this, too prematurely, but this might be the best show that's Disney Plus has done. I mean,
Yeah. I
we
cannot argue against that, honestly. I mean, there's some good Mando episodes. Um, that- Mando is
season
probably
1
the
of
next.
Mando is really, really good.
Yeah. And then
But
even Andor, like Andor is,
oh, Andor, that's
peak,
so
but
different.
even yeah, it's very different. And there's episodes of Andor that, I mean, I don't want to say a snooze fest, but like if you're watching it and you're a little drowsy, you might fall asleep.
I mean, it's yeah,
Whereas this you're right. Like I am not a big rewatch guy. I There's too many things out there to watch.
yeah,
I watch a lot of live sports, so a lot of my time's taken up with that. So, my time to rewatch things, there isn't much because there's so many other things to watch. But this is definitely one that, nothing else on. I could see myself going back and rewatching this. It's so good.
yeah. I really enjoyed it. Um, yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. There's much more to say other than that. I mean, love it. The music hit a little harder for me this time. I don't know if I was just
Yeah.
paying attention to it more because I know I brought that up in our mid-season recap show, where I just
Hmm.
didn't feel like the music was really something that was stood out to me. But I felt like in
Yeah.
the beginning and some of the action scenes, the music was really good. I'm excited to go back and listen to it. But yeah, Mike, you're solid 10. I'm got 9.5. I just looked at my list. It's pretty fancy list I keep down by the computer. um, my lowest score is a 9. Jack gave something. He gave episode 5 a 9. It looks like. Um, so yeah, just awesome. I will.
Mhm.
I wish we had done more shows. I think what we had Ahsoka, we have Acolyte, and we have this that we've done on air. Um, just to kind of compare it as how excited we were for. Because I mean, I know I loved Ahsoka when it was playing.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to go back and look at some of those scores. I think I have them, on something a little bit more tangible than this piece of scrap paper. But yeah. Anyways, well, let's get out of here. Let's
Let's
go.
do it.
And Mike, you're like an hour and 15 away from New Year's.
Yes,
Will you
yes, I
make it?
am.
Or are you going to
I'll probably
celebrate?
make it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or I'm going to
I have the
celebrate.
day off tomorrow.
Oh, very nice. So East
Yeah.
Coast. I'll be celebrating East Coast New Year's with you.
Good for you.
So, but I just want to
I'll
wish
shoot you a text at midnight.
yeah, just want to wish everybody, everyone there on Instagram, Tahoe and Imperial. Appreciate you guys jumping in on this. Um, just wish you guys a happy and safe 2025. Thank you for all the support. It means a ton to us. We got some exciting stuff planned for 2025 so far. We're really looking forward to bringing you guys more content just some different things that we're planning on doing, more live shows. Mike and I will still be live after Skeleton Crew. We've got a lot of work to do on rewriting writing the Ray series, so hopefully we'll get some information about that. But just again, big thanks, Mike. Thanks for joining us in 2024.
Yeah.
I think this is like week 20, or I don't even know how long we've been doing it now. It seems, because we had like 15 or 16 Jedi in the Mailman before we got started. So just want to say big thanks to you for joining, having fun every week with us.
Yep.
Just love having you being a part of the show. For all of us, we have spoken. We'll see you guys
Happy New Year
next year.